brought to my attention that I have it wrong. Meaning, usually I start with a prayer, we give tzedakah, and then I start the Dvar Torah. It says in Pirkei Avos, where the Mishnah speaks about the three pillars of the world, there are three pillars upon which the whole world resides and rests. Ala Torah, ala Avodah, val Gemilas Chasadim. The study of Torah, service, which is prayer, and Gemilas Chasadim, and acts of kindness. So first should be Torah, then should be Avodah, and then should be Gemilas Chasadim. Has a valid point, although we can argue on it. We see in the morning, we give tzedakah before davening, and then we daven. We learn later, or we learn before. In any case, to satisfy this individual's remark, I don't mind. So let us start with the Dvar Torah. Did you ever think about what a tefillin from God looks like? I wonder what's the question. What do you mean? God is putting out tefillin? Indeed. The Gemara has a saying, tefillin the mori alma ma'ikesimba. In the tefillin of God, what are the parchments that are inside? Now, in the tefillin that we wear, we know we have Shema, Vam Shemaya, etc. Professing our faith and love to God. Now, what is it saying God's tefillin? What are the parchments which are inside the tefillin? And the Gemara responds that there, in the tefillin of God, God speaks about the greatness and His relationship and His love for the Jewish people. So we express our faith and love in Him, and He in return expresses His relationship with us. Now, why am I bringing this up? Why do we know we have tefillin? Because there is an interesting medrash that relates that the four of the greatest luminaries at the time of the temple, and time of the destruction of the temple, the whole Talmud is based upon them. Rabbi Gamliel, who was a Kohen, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, who was a Levi, Rabbi Yeshua, who was a Yisrael, and Rabbi Akiva, famous Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva was actually a descendant of converts. As they were walking, they were actually conversing about this subject that God is so different than a regular king. A regular king produces laws, demands from his people a certain behavior, but they themselves don't necessarily follow their own laws. But God isn't so. Pasuk says, Magi devorav li Yaakov, chukav mishpatav li Yisrael. Magi devorav li Yaakov, he tells his words to Yaakov, chukav mishpatav, his laws to Yisrael. In other words, those things, as it says, Mashahu oisehu mitzav elasis. Whatever he himself does, this is what he demands from us to do. And this is what they're discussing as they're walking, I guess, in the street. A heretic overheard them. And he stops him and he says, I'm sorry, I disagree. God is not following his own laws. Oh yeah? How so exactly? It says, we know on Shabbat, there's what we call Arba Reshuyos, 4 domains. There's a private domain, there's a public domain, then there is a Carmelis and a Makom Ptur. I'm not going to go into now in all the details of these 4 domains, but one thing is simple. We are not allowed to transport something from a private domain into a public domain, or from a public domain to a private domain on Shabbos, unless there is an Eruv. Eruv, which means that the whole thing is enclosed, that whole considered a private domain. It says God is sending the rain on Shabbos. It's going from one domain to another domain. Not supposed to. And he points out to the 4 of them. You have 4 domains. In Judaism, there are 4 domains. Look at yourself. A Kohen, a Levi, and a Yisrael, and a descendant of Gerim. These are 4 specific domains. And he sends it to each one of you separately. So he's transgressing that concept of keeping Shabbat. So they responded to him and says, my kind, where is God? We say in the prayers, I am a kvodo. Where's God's place? Where's God's home? The answer is, Meloi chala oretz kvodo. God fills the entire universe. In other words, the entire universe is His private domain. All of us, although we are different, there's the domain of the Kohen, there's the domain of the Levi, there's the domain of the Yisrael, there's the domain of the Ger. but we're all in His domain. And therefore, there is no issue of separations over here. Rain, it's coming from His own place, further in His own domain. Just to realize that all is His, and we are all His in His home. So we're going to make a prayer. And the prayer is, Rabbeinu Shalom, join me in that prayer. We want to be already in your headquarters, so to say. Your headquarters is the Beis HaMikdash. So please, God, in your domain, in your world, send down from heaven the Beis HaMikdash, and then we will be able to continue, be even closer with you. And we're going to give tzedakah now to hasten this reality. Friends, as I said, join me in giving tzedakah and rendezvous at the entrance of the Beis HaMikdash today.